exciting! Well, today we're starting this video tutorial to make our centaur Roma. And the best part is that you'll be able to compare two amigurumis made with exactly the same pattern, but with different yarns and therefore different hooks. Of course, I'll be showing you the materials you'll need for each one, but for the demonstration, I'll actually be using these materials so you can clearly see every stitch. Let's take a look. Let's first look at the range of colors, the material, and the hook size I used in this first attempt at our centaur Roma. Let's start with this one, the darkest. It's brown. Yes, just like that. It's very dark. Next comes this one, which is called light tobacco, kind of like cinnamon, but the name is light tobacco. Next is the flesh color. This one is tangerine. Next, we have citrus, which is green, white, and this one, even though it's a soft yellow, its name is straw. This yarn is 1 millimeter thick and is 100% mercerized cotton. We'll be using a 1.5 millimeter hook with this yarn. And with that in mind, let's take a look at the materials we'll actually need for this tutorial, as well as the size your amigurumi could turn out if you use a thicker yarn. The yarn is about 3 millimeters thick and has 6 strands, and I'll be working it with a 2.5 millimeter hook using the X-shaped single crochet stitch. It's important that you work it the same way I do so that later the legs and the body all line up straight. Otherwise, you'll need to modify the pattern a bit if you notice that the stitches aren't straight. But you're always free to make the single crochet however you prefer. In the description of this tutorial, I'll be sharing a link to a video tutorial we have that explains more about the X-shaped single crochet, the fake X, or the V-stitch. And here are the colors we'll be using. I'll start by using dark brown yarn just for the hooves. Then, this is a strong cinnamon color for the horse's body. We'll need flesh-colored yarn or whatever skin tone you prefer. For the human part of the body, I'll be using mandarin-colored yarn for the hair, and you'll need approximately 55 grams, taking the tail into account, okay? Then, for details, we'll need green yarn. This one specifically is lime green, a shade I love. White for the little flowers, and yellow. But you can change all the colors and also adapt them to the brand of yarn you use. If you want to get this yarn for the larger centaur or the previous one I showed you, the smaller one which uses exactly the same pattern, check our website GretaWings.com. What other materials will we need? We'll need pins, a yarn needle, scissors, stuffing, much more than what I'm showing you here. We'll also need glue, not just to attach pieces but also to add to the base of the hoofs, so that way you get a nice flat base that stands up really well. We'll also need black sewing thread. This is regular sewing thread, and we'll use it doubled up to embroider the eyes. We'll also need wire. I'll be using these little wires that are for floristry. They come with a paper coating, but that's optional. It doesn't have to have that coating. However, many of the materials you see here can be found in our Amazon favorites, a link I share in all our videos. I'll be using a total of 6 and each one measures about 14 inches. I'm going to fold them in half, but I will use all 6. 4. For the legs, 1 for each leg, then 2, 1 for each arm, and with what's left, it reaches up to the head. And that's all the material we need for this project. But remember that everything I show you is exactly what I have used. However, you can use whatever you have on hand or whatever you can find. If you have any questions or need any suggestions, please don't hesitate to write to me in the comments of this video. I'll be happy to help you as soon as possible. For the last time, let's look at the measurements of each centaur. Even though I showed you at the beginning in the intro of this video, this centaur measures approximately 10 centimeters in its body, which is the same as 4 inches. And everything is approximate, okay? In height, it measures approximately 20 centimeters. Including the volume of her hair, it's about 20 centimeters, which is the same as 8 inches. Including the volume of her hair, okay? Let's look at this one here. Her entire body measures approximately 6 inches in length, which is precisely the same as 15 centimeters when converted. And then in height, it measures approximately, let's take a moment to see, about 24 centimeters in length. This measurement, about 24 centimeters, is precisely the same as 9.5 inches, providing a clear understanding of its size. Remember, everything is approximate, okay? We could say maybe 9 inches. Everything is approximate because of the volume of her hair, okay? If we only measure up to where her head ends, then we could say it's also 24. There you go. That's the reality. Because you have to account for a bit of the volume that sits on top of the hair. And now that's all the info. She's pretty messy now, but honestly, I love her like this. If you want to style her more, all those ideas are in the tutorial. This detail is very important. To make these centaurs, we not only have these tutorials, but also, thank you. The pattern is available for purchase, so check out our website, GretaWings.com. Also, in the description of this video, I'll be sharing the link in case you prefer a written pattern to print out and have it handy, watch your movie, go for a walk, etc. But as I always say, it's up to you. If you prefer our tutorials, we'll have several parts. Just follow the guide. At the end of each of our videos, I'll leave the link to the next part. Also, in the description of our tutorials, you'll find chapters. That is, the exact minute or second when each part starts. So if you need to leave the video, you can easily find, for example, where the legs begin just by checking the description. Thank you. All you have to do is click on the time, and that's it. This is optional, okay? Well, I hope that up to this point, you've been encouraged to make this centaur. Let me know in the comments which one you'll make, a mini centaur or this super big one. Let's continue with this video because we're about to start making the legs. From round 1 to round 13, you're going to repeat it a total of 4 times. Each leg starts exactly the same way from round 1 to round 13. So let's make one together. We'll start using the dark brown yarn in round 1, making a magic ring. And inside you will find 6 individual single crochets. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and finally 6. Once the 6 single crochets are done, close the magic ring and place a marker. We'll be working in a spiral, and in round number 2, we'll make 6 increases. 1 increase in each stitch of the previous round. 1 single crochet, another one in the same place, and that would be the first increase. Continue increasing like this all the way around until you finish with a total of 12 stitches. In round number 3, repeat 1 single crochet and then an increase. Do this all the way around. 1 single crochet and 1 increase for a total of 6 repetitions. We'll finish round 3 with 18 stitches. In round number 4, we'll make exactly 18 single crochets. But this time only working into the back loop of the stitches from the previous round. Make a single crochet, only taking the back loop, and continue making single crochets for a total of 18 until you finish round number 4. Let's start round number 5 with 6 single crochets. First, we have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Following this, we will proceed to make 3 distinct decreases, specifically working invisible decreases. This involves 1 decrease, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, and finally 6. Each step should be executed with precision to ensure the desired outcome. And to completely finish this round, we will now add 6 more individual single crochets. We have 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, and finally 6. In round number 6, let's make 15 single crochets. 1 single crochet. 2, and I'll continue making single crochets for a total of 15 until I finish this round number 6. Once round number 6 is finished, I'll make a chain to temporarily secure it. I'll also remove the marker. The reason is that I'll be applying melted silicone glue to this base. I'm also going to cut this little strand with the silicone, it will be secured. So it's essential here to adjust the piece because the fabric stretches a little. Also, if this isn't the first leg you've made, make sure they look as similar as possible and that one isn't much bigger or much smaller than the other. My advice at this point is to make all 4 legs on the same day, one after the other. That's because we don't always crochet the same way every day. I made these a day ago and without a doubt, I know they're going to turn out a little different, but that's okay. Since you already have this pattern, this tutorial, please make all 4 on the same day so they turn out as similar as possible. In my case, I'm just going to compare them, I'll stretch the fabric a little, and I'll also make sure to place the piece on the table. With the help of a flat stick, I'll press it against the table so that the base is as flat as possible. What happens is that when the silicone cools and hardens, however you placed it, that's how it will stay. If you want to add a button, you're free to do so. The good thing about using silicone this time is that we're also going to attach the wing. Remember, we'll be using these wires that are about 14 inches long, and what I'll do is simply bend them. Do this for each leg. Once we have the little cap on the table and the wire prepared, make sure the silicone is as hot as possible. To melt the silicone, honestly, I still use this one that plugs directly into the outlet. Besides the fact that it heats up really well, it also uses larger tubes. So the idea here is to have it really hot so that when it falls onto the sole of the little cap, it settles by itself. It settles on its own like that. But if on the other hand, you don't make it really hot, then it's going to tend to stick anywhere we might not want it to. So apply enough silicone, but not so much that you have to go through the final round of removing the excess. Don't go all the way to the last round because we need to keep weaving. And simply, before it cools, I'm going to position the wire so it stays right there. Well, you could just stay here holding the wire, but I've prepared this little arm. To leave it there so it stays perfectly upright, the fundamental idea is to keep it as precisely centered as possible, as absolutely straight as possible, and then just let it thoroughly dry. I'll show you the complete final result once it's fully dried. This is precisely how it will look. If there's any noticeable gap left, as is clearly the case here, we could carefully fill it in or simply add the stuffing later. I genuinely think with the stuffing it'll be perfectly fine. I'm going to proceed to add it now. Yes, I successfully managed to finish stuffing it, and honestly, perhaps I could have avoided this particular mistake, but I like to show it so you can clearly see how it looks a bit messy. You should always make sure to stuff it completely the first time. So I want you to see that even though it looks like this, you won't notice it later. Now let's move on to round number 7. In this round number 7, we're going to repeat 3 times, 3 stitches and a decrease. 1 single crochet. 2, 3, and then a significant decrease. You should repeat this exact same process 2 more additional times. 1, 2, 3, which represents a significant decrease, and 1 last repetition. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease. Done! We will have finished this round with 12 stitches, and right at this last decrease, we'll change colors. Now we can cut this dark brown yarn. I'm going to pull it out a little. I'm also going to remove this marker for now. I'm going to insert over the top for the color change, like this, over the last decrease. And let's take the strong cinnamon colored yarn, which is the one I'll be using for the body. Pull it through. In round number 8, make 12 slip stitches, working only into the back loops of the stitches from the previous round. 1 slip stitch. 2. Don't make them too tight so the next round will be much easier for you to work with. 3. And I'll continue making these slip stitches just like this. We're now going to carefully pull out this dark brown yarn, and together with the cinnamon colored yarn that we used at the very beginning, we'll tie a secure regular knot and then leave it safely inside so it becomes an integral part of the stuffing. Once round 8 is completely finished, for round 9, I am now going to precisely place a marker. We'll be making a total of 12 single crochets, working only into the back loops, just the very back loop of the color. The strong cinnamon color, which is a single crochet. Sometimes it's a bit tricky and the yarn I left inside is coming out. If you notice it's getting difficult, what I suggest is to take a yarn needle and try to mark the strand, okay? That way it'll be easier to work with the hook afterwards. 3. And I'll continue making single crochets like this, a total of 12, working only in the back loop until I finish this round. I've finished round number 9 and I'll make a chain to temporarily secure it. Keep in mind, I'll try to never forget to mention adding stuffing, okay? But what's important is that as you progress, you add stuffing whenever it's most comfortable for you. Why do I say this? Because the stuffing might get in your way while crocheting, so you might prefer to add the stuffing at the end. You'll always have space. I prefer to add a little bit at a time without leaving too much at the top so it doesn't get in the way as I keep crocheting. But I do like to have a little bit in there that I can adjust because otherwise it gets too deep, okay? But I'll leave that up to you, alright? Even if I don't mention it, if you want to add stuffing as you go, you can always do so. I'm going to continue with round number 10 where we're going to decrease a little. In this round, number 10, the repeats will be 1 single crochet and 1 decrease for a total of 4 repeats around the round. 1 single crochet. And then a decrease follows. Repeat 1 single crochet and 1 decrease 3 more times and we'll finish this round with 8 stitches. Let's continue with round number 11, where we will make 8 increases. But pay attention because we'll be working only in the front loops of the previous round. Okay? 1 single crochet, another one in the same place in the same front loop, and that will be the first increase. Only in the front loop, 1 single crochet and another one in the same place. Continue like this until you have a total of 8 increases, and we'll finish this round with 16 stitches. In round number 12, make 16 single crochets, working each single crochet as usual. 2, and I'll continue to keep making single crochets just like this until I completely finish this entire round. In round 13, you will make 8 decreases, working invisible decreases, 1 decrease exactly. 2, and I'll keep making decreases for a total of 8 and we'll finish round 13 with 8 stitches. I've now finished round number 13. I'll make a chain to temporarily secure it because I want to show you that all 4 legs from round 1 to round 13 are exactly the same. You should repeat exactly the same process 3 more times. Remember that in the description of our video, I share the exact minute where we start these legs so you can rewind the video to the exact moment. So once we have all 4 legs from round 1 to 13, we'll start making the front legs and then the back legs. From round 14 onward, they will be different. 2 for the front legs and 2 for the back legs. For the front legs from round 14 to 17, we will be making 8 single crochets in each round. 1 single crochet. And I'll continue making single crochets a total of 8 until I finish this round 14 and do the same for the following rounds up to round 17, 8 single crochets in each. After finishing round 17, I've added a bit of stuffing. Remember that you should always add stuffing as you go according to your comfort. Let's continue with round 18, and this time we'll repeat 4 times, 1 single crochet and then an increase. Just like that, repeat 1 single crochet and an increase 3 more times, and we'll finish this round with 12 stitches. Then, from round 19 to 23, make 12 single crochets in each round. 1 single crochet, 2, and I'll continue making single crochets like this until I finish this round, and do the same for the following rounds up to round 23. 12 single crochets in each one. Once round 23 is finished, cut the yarn, leaving enough tail to make an invisible finish. At this point, we can actually remove the stitch marker, and for the invisible finish, skip 1 stitch, and in the next one, insert the needle from the inside out under that little chain we made, and once more over and through the center of the last single crochet we did. I'm gonna pull it inside, make a little knot inside, and then leave the yarn tail to become part of the stuffing. This invisible finish is actually optional. If you prefer not to do it, you can also continue without making the invisible finish. But honestly, I love that since these little legs will be joined with crochet and not by sewing, we don't have to worry later about where we started. No need to worry about the round or anything like that. We're just going to join it, making sure they're in the correct position. I'm going to tuck this yarn tail inside and also add a bit more stuffing. I've already stuffed them. Remember, you need to repeat exactly the same steps for the other leg from round 14 to round 23. And these would be the 2 front legs. This is how they look from the front and then from above. And now, let's continue with the back legs. Continuing with round number 14, we'll work on it now. 8 single crochets, just round 14 with 8 single crochets. Make sure you're picking up the correct stitch. 1, 2, and so on until you have 8 single crochets and finish this round 14. In round number 15, repeat 3 single crochets and an increase 2 times. 1. We observe the numbers 2 then 3, and subsequently there is a noticeable and significant increase that follows. One more repeat. 1 single crochet, 2, 3, and then a significant increase, and with that, we will have successfully completed round 15 with a total of 10 stitches. For the subsequent rounds, specifically rounds 16, 17, and 18, these are 3 absolutely identical rounds. We will meticulously start each and every one of them with a single increase. Pay close attention and take notes if you think it's necessary. An increase. Then you will make 2 single crochets. 1, 2, 2 decreases, 1 decrease, and the second one. 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. And to finish the round, another increase. Let me repeat once more. For the next rounds 17 and 18, start with an increase, then 2 single crochets, then 2 decreases, 2 single crochets, and another increase. And we'll be finishing each of these 3 rounds with 10 stitches. It's important that these decreases always end up as close to the front as possible. If you notice that they're not at the front, because not all of us crochet the same way and it really depends on how straight your stitches are, then you'll need to adjust a little. Always try to make sure the decreases are at the front. Try it exactly as I do. But if you notice that after finishing the 3 rounds, your work isn't coming out straight as we want, then repeat it again and adjust them a little. When I say adjust them a little, I mean that, for example, maybe it might work better for you to start with 2 increases, then 2 stitches, 2 decreases, and then 2 more single crochets. with a backward tilt, and so we are going to slightly angle the wire in favor of the weave. We will now continue with round number 19. In this particular round, we will begin with 2 increases, the very first one and then the second one, to establish the foundation for the next section of our work. First, we will begin with the initial increase, carefully forming the first stitch, and then proceed with the second increase, ensuring a smooth and gradual expansion of our work. Following these increases, we will then meticulously perform a single crochet stitch, placing it precisely into the designated loop. Subsequently, we will proceed with 2 distinct decreases. The very first decrease, skillfully reducing the stitch count, and then the second decrease, further shaping our piece with precision. After these reductions, another single crochet stitch will be carefully placed, providing a foundational element for the next steps. And finally, to bring this entire round to a complete and satisfying conclusion, we will skillfully execute 2 additional increases, perfectly balancing the stitch count and preparing for the next stage of our crocheting journey. And 2, and we will have successfully finished this particular round 19 with a total of 12 stitches. In round number 20, we will begin with 2 distinct increases, the first and the second, then 2 single crochets, 1, 2, followed by 2 decreases. If you've carefully noticed, we've always been consistently making 2 decreases at the very front of our work, the first and the second, then 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and to completely finish this current round, 2 increases, the first and the second, and we will have successfully finished round 20 with a total of 14 stitches. During rounds 21 and 22, you should make exactly 14 single crochets in each and every round, 1 single crochet, 2, and so I'll continue making these single crochets until I completely finish this round, and likewise 14 more single crochets in round number 22. Let's now start round number 23 with a decrease, then you will repeat a total of 5 times. 1 single crochet and 1 increase, 1 single crochet and 1 increase, and that would be the very first repetition. There are 5 in total. Single crochet, increase, the second repetition, single crochet, increase, the third repetition, single crochet, increase, the fourth repetition, single crochet, increase, the fifth and final repetition, and to finish this round 23, a decrease, and we'll be finishing this round with a total of 17 stitches. It's incredibly important that as you diligently go along, you consistently keep stuffing the piece. Do not leave it for the very end of your project. In round number 24, let's begin with a decrease. And then we will proceed to repeat 6 times 1 single crochet and 1 increase. That is to say, in the previous round there were 5 repetitions, and in this current one there are 6, 1 single crochet followed by this particular stitch, which is indeed the increase. So you will carefully repeat 1 single crochet and 1 increase 5 more times. Remember, there are a total of 6 repetitions of 1 single crochet and 1 increase. You will then have 3 stitches remaining, and in those 3 remaining stitches, we will carefully make 1 single crochet and then a decrease. And with that, we will have successfully completed round number 24 with a total of 21 stitches. Let's now commence round number 25 with 2 decreases, specifically 1 and 2. Then we will repeat 4 times 2 single crochets and 1 increase. 1 single crochet, then 2 single crochets, and then an increase. Repeat this sequence of 2 single crochets and 1 increase 3 more times. That's 2 single crochets and 1 increase, for a total of 4 times in all. After completing the 4 precise repetitions, we will then proceed to meticulously execute 1 single crochet stitch, followed immediately by 2 distinct decreases. These decreases specifically the first and then the second, will be carefully performed to achieve the desired shaping and reduction in stitches. In this area here, the decreases are always at the back and the increases at the front, the opposite of what we did here, where the decreases were at the front and the increases at the back. We have finished round 25 with 21 stitches. In round 26, repeat the entire round for a total of 7 repetitions. First, you will make 2 individual stitches, followed by an increase. This means you will perform 1 single crochet stitch, then another single crochet stitch, and then you will execute an increase stitch, which involves placing 2 single crochet stitches into the same stitch from the previous row. Always continue to carefully shape the wire as you progress. This action would effectively represent the gradual increase. So we'll continue repeating 2 stitches and 1 increase all the way around, and you'll finish this round with a total of 28 stitches. In round 27, let's start with 3 repetitions of 3 single crochets and 1 increase. 1, 2, and then an increase. And we're going to repeat this 2 more times. 1 single crochet, 2, 3, and an increase. This would be the second repetition. Once more, let's count this out. 1, 2, then we move to 3, and finally we observe an increase in the count. After these 3 repetitions, we're going to make 3 half double crochets. Yarn over, insert, pull through, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. Like that, 1 half double crochet, the second and the third, and then a half double crochet increase. To complete the round, 3 more repetitions of 3 single crochets and an increase. 1, 2, 3, and then an increase follows. Repeat 3 stitches and an increase 2 more times, and we will finish this round with 35 stitches. And in round number 28, the last one for this leg, we will make 35 single crochets. 1, 2, and I will continue making single crochets a total of 35 until I complete the round. And once round 28 is finished, I have already cut the yarn, and using a yarn needle, we will make an invisible finish, just as we did with the front legs. We skip 1 stitch, and in the next one, go under this chain that has formed on top of the stitch, and then once more into the center of the last single crochet I made. Pull it inside, and inside we will secure it and let the yarn end become part of the stuffing. Once the invisible finish is done, make sure to add stuffing up to this area so the legs are well filled. Also, remember to repeat exactly the same steps from round number 14 to 28 to complete both back legs. With all 4 legs ready, let's start the arms. For these arms, we will use flesh-colored yarn or the skin tone you have chosen, and we will start each one with a magic ring and inside 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and close the ring. Place a stitch marker because we will be working in a spiral, and from round 2 to round 4, that is rounds 2, 3, and 4. Each will have 6 single crochets working in a spiral. Make sure you have 6 stitches at the start, and then we will work 3 rounds, each with 6 stitches, 1 single crochet, 2, 3. We're going to begin the process of carefully shaping this particular piece to meticulously form the hand, specifically sections 4, 5, and 6. In this precise manner, we will incorporate an additional 6 more single crochets into each subsequent round, specifically within rounds 3 and 4. As we progress into round 5, the overall work will become noticeably and significantly smaller, okay? But please be very patient and take your time with this next step. We are going to carefully repeat the following sequence. First, 1 single crochet stitch and then a decrease stitch. You will need to perform this entire sequence 1 more time, so that makes a total of 2 complete repetitions, specifically 1 single crochet stitch followed by a decrease stitch. This meticulous approach will ensure the best results for your project. We will have finished this round 5 with 4 stitches, and in round number 6, exactly 4 single crochets. I'll show you the entire round so you can see that I'm actually doing it. I don't really like it much either, but it's necessary for the mushroom cap to have definition. If, like me, yours closed up too much, we'll help it with a needle. We're going to open up the center a bit so we can see it better and let the hook come out. This refers to section 2.3, which is a specific part of the document. This particular section provides important details and context relevant to the overall discussion. We have now successfully completed round number 6 of our crochet project. As we transition into round number 7, we will be focusing on a specific and repetitive stitch pattern. For this upcoming round, the sequence of stitches will involve first creating a single crochet stitch, followed immediately by an increased stitch. It is absolutely crucial to maintain a steady pace and exercise a great deal of patience throughout this round, as precision is key to achieving the desired outcome. To reiterate the pattern for clarity, you will begin by executing one single crochet stitch, ensuring it is properly formed and tensioned. Subsequently, the very next stitch you create will be an increased stitch, which typically involves working 2 single crochet stitches into the same stitch from the previous round. Following this increase, you will then return to the pattern by performing another single crochet stitch. And then, to complete the repeating sequence, you will once again execute another increased stitch. This methodical repetition of a single crochet, then an increase, then a single crochet, and then another increase will form the foundation of round 7. Take your time with each and every stitch, focusing on the proper technique and placement to ensure a beautiful and consistent fabric. Just one. Once you finish round number 7, please be very patient. If you notice that your work has stretched out too much, you can repeat it, okay? These delicate little arms don't require any stuffing whatsoever. Instead, we're simply going to carefully insert a very thin, flexible wire. For rounds 8, 9, and 10, we will meticulously create 6 single crochets in each and every round, starting with 1, then 2, and so on, diligently continuing with these single crochets for a grand total of 6 stitches in round 8, and precisely likewise 6 single crochets in each subsequent round for both rounds 9 and 10. So, to be perfectly clear, rounds 8, 9, and 10 will each consistently contain 6 single crochets. Now moving on to round 11, this particular time the repeats will consist of 2 single crochets followed by 1 increase, and this sequence will be repeated exactly twice. First 2 single crochets, then an increase, and so on following this precise pattern. We will ultimately finish round 11 with a total of 8 stitches, and from round 12 all the way through round 18, we will be consistently making 8 single crochets in each and every one of these rounds, ensuring uniformity throughout this section of the project. 2. And I'll keep making single crochets until I finish this round 12. And do the same for the following rounds up to round 18. Once round 18 is finished, we'll make an invisible finish, and after making the invisible finish, just like we did for each leg, this is how the little arm will look. Now let's start the fingers. Let's start these little fingers, which are super easy to make. Just pay close attention to where I insert my hook. I can't tell you exactly between which stitch numbers, but just watch closely. You're going to press down a little. There's not much to press here, just the front part. Don't worry about the rest. Between rounds 2 and 3, 1, 2, and 3, here you're going to pick up a little loop that's always available between each round. That's where you'll insert the hook. We're going to make this finger first, the thumb. I call it the smallest one because the other 4 will be the same. We'll make the small one first. Just pull the yarn through, leave it a little long so it'll be easier to secure and hide later. For this thumb, the smallest finger, we'll just chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Starting in the second chain, we'll make 2 slip stitches, picking up the back loop that forms behind each chain. Not the traditional back loop, but the one that forms behind each chain. 1 slip stitch and the second in the first chain we made. Hold the little loop so it doesn't open up too much, though we can always tighten it later. Only 1 back loop, okay? You need to carefully shape the chains on both sides like this, ensuring they form the desired structure. To meticulously finish this little finger, specifically between rounds 1 and 2, you should insert your hook precisely wherever you can find an opening and then make a secure slip stitch. The very first little finger is now complete. Don't worry. Everything will gradually take its proper shape and form later as you continue with the project. Now, we are going to proceed by making 4 identical fingers, each and every one of them starting with a sequence of 4 foundational chains. That's 1, then 2, then 3, and finally 4 chains. Starting from the second chain in this sequence, we will then meticulously make 3 slip stitches, always diligently using that small, distinctive loop that naturally forms behind the chains. That's 1 slip stitch, then 2, and then 3. To definitively finish this particular finger, you should make a final slip stitch right at the very same base, in the exact same spot where we previously made the last slip stitch, specifically located between rounds 1 and 2. We will then proceed to create 3 more fingers in precisely the same manner. The only subtle difference that changes is the precise location where you insert your hook for each subsequent finger. Let's continue. We'll make 4 more chains, 1, then 2, then 3, and finally 4. Starting once again from the second chain, we will execute 3 more slip stitches. That's 1, then 2, and then 3. Now, carefully move to the very next available stitch. What we will do here is to go from one side to the other, just exactly like you can clearly see demonstrated, moving from the front of the work to the back, meticulously picking up the entire first round, and then make a firm slip stitch, and with that, another finger is successfully done. Next, we'll create 1, 2, 3, and 4 chains. Starting from the second chain, we'll make 1, 2, and 3 slip stitches. And then, in the very same base as the previous slip stitch, we'll make another slip stitch to secure it. Now, we only have 1 final finger left to complete. We'll begin with 4 chains. 1, then 2, then 3, and finally 4. Starting from the second chain, we will make 1, 2, and 3 slip stitches. Move to the very next stitch. Again, carefully going from the front of the work to the back, and then make 1 last concluding slip stitch. Depending on the specific nature of your work and your personal preference, if you find it more suitable or effective to insert the hook between other stitches, that is perfectly fine and acceptable. What is truly important and crucial here is to ensure the structural integrity and the aesthetic outcome of your crocheted piece. Well, that it looks like a nicely shaped little hand, okay? That this little finger ends up pretty even with the other part of the hand, okay? So that when you arrange it, you have 4 pointing up and this one to the side. And now we're going to insert these yarn ends inward, pulling them out through the same point to secure and hide them. I'm just going to insert into this same point the last one where we made a slip stitch, and I'm going to come out between 2 stitches above. There, I'm going to grab the other yarn end. And I'm going to come out right at the same point. This way we're going to make a little knot that will then hide. Put the yarn needle back in, then carefully insert it through the very same stitches and gently pull it out wherever is most comfortable for you. When you make the knot, you need to completely hide it, okay? And can we just simply and easily cut the yarn in this particular manner? If a very small and tiny tip is inadvertently left sticking out from the main body of the work, You can certainly finish it off neatly and precisely with the very same yarn needle that you have been using. The fingers, on the other hand, are meticulously knitted in exactly the same precise and identical way as the other parts, okay? If you want to start with the longer fingers and then do the smallest one, that's fine, you can do all of that. Basically, you'll get almost exactly the same result. Remember that you need to make both arms and that the invisible closure is optional. Honestly, it makes joining them to the body much easier, but it is still optional. And with the arms ready, that's it for this first part. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet and you really enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to do so. Turn on the notification bell so YouTube will let you know every time we upload a new video. Also, don't forget to let me know if you really liked it by leaving a like and a comment. See you in the next part. Bye.